What's up, guys? Welcome back to another, of course, Red Dragon Archfiend deck profile. And of course, I did change up the list quite a lot. I'm no longer playing things like the Ascator engine, and I am playing some other for fun techs and a bunch of other good stuff. So we're going to hop straight into it. This is going to be my last competitive list for a little bit. I am going to be playing other decks other than this deck for a little bit because, don't get me wrong, RDA is probably my favorite deck, at least that came out last year, and of course, it is pretty much my top deck. But I mean, after testing it a lot, I noticed that it bricks a little bit too much. I have other decks in mind that I do want to try out, like DDDs, like Blue Eyes. Like I'm experimenting with other decks I'm going to be playing. I'm still gonna be playing this as my main, just like not going to be playing it as much as I'm going to be playing some other decks as well. I do want to try out some stuff, but yeah, this is the lineup. I cut the other trap. Yeah, this is pretty much always going to be the same, at least for now. I have noticed people are main decking Droll, and I'm not fully sure if I'm going to, you'll see my non-engine, I'm playing Prosperity as well as a bit of, help for both engines. Of course, the 3-field spell, the one terraforming. Yeah, my hand traps are a little bit, different than they were. I did change some stuff up, but of course we're still on the 10-card Centur-ion package. Don't think that's ever going to change really neither. And then, of course, we have the power spells, the talents, one thrust, one called by, and one cross out. Of course, I'm on one now instead of two because thrust doesn't come up as much, and sometimes there's not really a lot of good options to set, like talents, prosperity, foolish sometimes, but I rarely thrust into it, or imperm, I guess, but that's pretty much it. Anyways, for the hand traps, I'm on 3 Fulabos. I finally got this card. I've been trying to get it for so long. I finally got reprinted, so I got the play set and playing the main deck because if I sided this, it would clog up the side a little bit, takes up space. Also, it's just good target for cross out. A lot of these hand traps are just mainly for cross out as well. We're on 3 copies of Ash, of course, 3 copies of Imperm. We're on 3 copies of Ogre. You could play 2, but I'm playing 3. And 3 copies of Nip. Now, I'll explain why I'm playing so many hand traps. I was playing this, this was my hand traps for the tournament. I changed this after locals. This was my hand traps, and I was also on, of course, 2 copies of Metaltronus in the main. That was my hand traps for the tournament. It just didn't feel good, bro. I wasn't really opening as many hand traps as I wanted, so I decided to just bump up the hand traps a bit more and just play 15 clean. And then, of course, the power spells are 19 non-engine, 20 if you want to count Prosperity, because you can dig into these. But, yeah, I had no problems ever since switching it and testing. And then, of course, extra deck, the 1 Red Rising, the 1 Q-Belt, the 1 Scarred, the 1 RDA, the 1 Abyss, and the 1 Dispatter, Oxala, Legatia, Crimson Dragon. I did a funny play where I Metaltronus summoned Crimson Dragon. It was pretty funny. Blazar, Trish, Chaos Angel, SP. I actually made this a couple times today. It did come up. And then, of course, the final 2 cards are the 2 Metaltronus targets, the Detonator and the White Binder. I didn't verse either of these 2 decks today, by the way, but I mean, they're still worth playing just in case it comes up. And that's it for the extra deck. Side deck's pretty somewhat standard. Triple Droll. If we want to go Droll route, we can side out the Fulo, side in the Drolls. Triple Droplet. 2 Metaltronus. We're on the other 2 copies of Thrust, as long as the D Barrier, Duster, and Sanctum as the targets. And then finally, we're on 2 copies of Lancia, because these 3 are just for Malice, and then, of course, everything else is just standard. I guess you can count D Barrier and the Thrust for Ryziel, because, I do Thrust into D Barrier a lot. But Thrust didn't really come up at all. I never seen it. Even siding in the other, all 3, I never opened it once. Nibiru came in clutch. I versed Dragon Ruler, Tempai. What's the other matchups? I kind of forgot. Heroes. I've versed a hero Fiendsmith file. I did lose all my games today, but I mean, it's whatever. You win some, you lose some. And yeah, Memento also. That was like another matchup. And then I did forget the other one. I did message my friend the matchups as well, but yeah, it's alright. But yeah, anyways, if you guys have any recommendations for me to do with this deck or anything, let me know in the comments. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.